for joining us here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I can't believe we're already talking about another summer. I feel like I was just here talking about last year.
It is amazing. It is amazing for sure. Jill, let's talk through, first off, what is the current state of leadership at Chautauqua, because you're going through a change. Michael Hill, the current director, is taking a president's job at a university, right?
Yes, he's taking a job as president at Randolph-Macon College in Virginia,
okay, which
is a little closer to home for himself and his husband. They both have property in Washington, D.C. area, so they're closer to family and relatives. Not an easy decision for Michael to make. He has a deep love for Chautauqua. I just spoke to him the other day about that, and there are a lot of things he's really going to miss. But this is an opportunity for him. He's always wanted a presidential position at a university. And
wow.
This was not a quick process for him. He's been talking to them for quite some time. So we're all thrilled for Michael and really wish him nothing but the best. He leaves behind quite the legacy at Chautauqua.
That's amazing. Talk about what the national search for a new director is, because that position is very important, the president position, right?
It is. And I actually, right before I came here, saw an email from the board. They are starting the process of looking for a group to do the search for president, because it's not something where you just put an ad on Indeed and say, hey, we need a new president.
Right.
It is an involved search, because Chautauqua is like a place like no other. And we need to look at these opportunities of transition as an opportunity to help with our mission and help move us forward.
So when you look at all of that, and an organization as old and established as Chautauqua, I mean, I would think that you don't want to make drastic change. You want to kind of do smooth sailing, and because you have a, for lack of a better word, a brand, a way that things are done. There's expectations. There's investments that people have made generationally. I mean, there's a lot into this.
There is a lot involved, and did you see the documentary Chautauqua?
I started to watch it, with the Wynton Marsalis thing. Yeah.
So that kind of sums it up, though. Chautauqua's been around. Last year, we celebrated our sesquicentennial with our 150th anniversary. So everyone's kind of joking that this year it'll be much quieter, because we had so many celebrations last year for the 150. So it is a place, though, that if we didn't change, we wouldn't still be here. So It does have to be a subtle change, though. You can't come in and want to change everything, but I don't think any place could have survived for 150 years with no change.
Of course.
But I don't anticipate, and of course this is a decision that will be left up to the board in an extensive search, to find someone who does understand our mission, who can follow our 4 pillars and move us forward.
Mention what those are again, the 4 pillars.
Arts, education, religion, and recreation.
Okay, yeah. And you obviously can get those in spades while you're there. There's not without controversy at Chautauqua. There was a major article, which was kind of surprising to see in the New York Times, that talked about maybe some folks weren't necessarily happy with President Hill, and just kind of rabble rousing. This is my editorial opinion. I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. What would be your official take on all of that?
I mean, when you look at some place like Chautauqua, there is a commitment to lifelong learning and discussion and dialogue. Chautauqua is about, and you're familiar with Chautauqua,
absolutely.
It is about discussing difficult topics. And sometimes not everybody's happy with those topics, but that's what makes Chautauqua Chautauqua. It's a place where you can go and have those discussions in a safe place. And maybe you don't agree, but that is where you can be heard. And we bring people who make you think. We bring people for dialogue. We don't bring people for debate. So while we're open to discussion and dialogue, some people, you're not going to make everybody happy. We have 100,000 people who come to Chautauqua every summer. So there's going to be a percentage of people who maybe disagree with some of the things we do, but our goal is to make sure that we are creating a space safe for dialogue.
Yeah, and I mean, when you go, and I mean, many people are involved with the programming of this thing. There is really I mean, just from the outsider's point of view, there is a diversity of programming.
There has to be, because we have a diversity of patrons.
Yeah.
You know, Chautauqua is made up of everyone you can imagine. You go on our grounds and you see all of the religious houses. You know, everyone's represented, and that's our goal. We go into programming, and I think last year we talked about this. I couldn't wait to see how they made the sausage. Well, now that I have seen what goes into programming, it is amazing what the team of programmers do, headed, of course, by Deborah Sinea Moore and the PAVA team, the Performing Art and Visual Arts team. What goes into programming is so impressive. And when you start getting these emails week after week about who's coming and what went into getting them, we had Lave, who is a singer, who she sold out in the first night within 30 minutes of tickets going live.
Oh, wow.
I've never heard of her. And a bunch of the older people will say, who is she? She is this TikTok sensation from Iceland. And I keep referring to her as a young version of Bjork, but she's not like that at all. She has this massive following. And to see our team go into action when those tickets sold so quickly, to get her to agree to a second night and went into that, it's so impressive what they do. And it's not just the big shows, it's the speakers. You know, what goes into bringing them in and to put these weeks together it's really impressive to watch. And I have so much more admiration. I admired them before I saw it, but now that I've seen what goes into it, it's very impressive.
All right, why don't we start? Because I know that we always start rushing at the end when we start, because it's 9 weeks, right?
9 weeks.
So is there an overall theme of the 2025 season?
Not really. Last year we kind of did with our 150th celebration, and this week we're going into it with 9 different themes.
Okay. What's week 1 look like here?
So let me get out my list. I told you before we started that this is my first official interview about the season. So pardon me if I have to refer to my notes.
And I'm glad we're getting a jump on it, because sometimes, you know, if you want to go to that particular concert, like you said, tickets are already gone for some of these. From some of these shows.
We have some amazing concerts this year. It's really impressive what they've done. So week 1 is called Themes of Transformation, Forces Shaping Our Tomorrow.
Okay.
So the note I have on that is focuses on the constant changes in our world, which, again, Chautauqua somehow comes up with these timely topics.
Right.
You couldn't really pick a better one for week 1. And it's going to feature social scientists, economics, and futurists discussing the impact of transformation on society. So timely right now, right?
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
I don't know, can't think of a time when we haven't seen more transformation in our society than where we're at right now.
Let's take a look at some of the
James Carville and Mary Matlin that first week.
Really?
Taking the stage together. So they will be on June 23rd during the 10:45 a.m. lecture.
Okay.
So what a way to discuss, right?
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't hold back, and neither does she.
And he's been obviously in the news of late, the past couple of months. You know, he's always talking about Trump, and he doesn't hold back, as you know, neither does she. So that'll be a great conversation on the stage.
Oh my gosh.
At the amphitheater.
What is the main performance that week?
So we'll get to this after we talk about this, but we are also starting a shoulder season. So we have someone performing even before the season starts.
That's right. You kind of do that every year, though,
No,
don't you? No,
this is the first time.
Huh. Okay, that's cool.
Well,
so what does that look like?
We'll circle back. Do you want me to talk about that now?
Yeah, why not? Season? Sure.
So part of our strategic 150 Forward plan is to get to learning around the year, Chautauqua around the year. So 9 weeks, it's hard to sustain anything for just 9 weeks. So how do we expand and have give our lifelong learners an opportunity to experience Chautauqua outside of the season? Well, one of those ways, everyone looks at the amphitheater. Gorgeous, beautiful venue. Why are we not using it outside of those 9 weeks?
Right.
It's used for graduation, for Jamestown, things like that, but not concerts. So they decided to try it out this year, and we have 2 shows. We have Smokey Robinson coming. He will be there on June 14th, I believe. Let me double check that. And then we also have Bonnie Raitt coming September 5th. So those are shoulder season shows, which means outside of our regular 9-week season.
But pretty much real close. Yeah.
But we're baby steps.
Yeah. And
there's only so late you can go in Western New York with
100%.
outdoor
well,
shows.
and plus you got to have staff. You've got to have ticket takers and all the things, right?
Right, because obviously when we're there during the 9 weeks, you have staffing already in place. So that is one of the things that they're working on right now. How do we staff these shows? And the tickets work a little differently because a lot of times for these main concerts, that's included in your gate pass. For these, it's assigned seating, which is something different as well. So you buy your ticket ahead of time, you go, and you'll have an assigned seat in the amphitheater.
Okay, well that's nice.
And
as
tickets
well.
are available. The Bonnie Raitt one is selling both of them are selling quickly, but I think there's a lot of availability for the Smoky one. We just announced that not too long ago, and a few left for Bonnie Raitt. So
Okay, so there's still some tickets for that.
But
Yeah.
so our official season though kicks off. We have the Counting Crows, June 21st. So not too shabby.
Not too shabby at all. June 21st is Counting Crows. Awesome. I'm looking for what's the best way to see the. Okay, there's this. Plan your visit the 2025 season. There we go.
Well, I brought in. I know
Yes.
your people
Yeah.
watching us online can see it, but I brought in the
Yeah.
calendar, which people say, "Well, what do you do at your job?" And I know your listeners can't see it, but I open it up and I say this. So this shows you what our programming looks like, and this is
Yeah.
just the first go around.
Did you use AI in any of that?
No. We don't. We pride ourselves on writing. And Ray, who,
We talk about this like every day.
Yeah.
And Shanie's going to give you applause because she disdains AI.
for purists, right?
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
It's funny when you want a picture of what your dog would like sitting in a chair on the beach, but in terms of writing, we don't really fall to that.
Good for you. Keeping
I'll give a
writers
shout
in
out to
play.
Ray Downey. He is our director of and he is the one who puts this together and somehow manages to, I always say, herd these cats. It's a lot of work.
That's amazing. Who are the Wood Brothers? They're also on the 23rd.
Yeah, the Wood
that
Brothers
week.
are on the 23rd. They're more of a laid back group, but very, not jam bandy, but, a little more subdued than
Okay,
the Counting Crows.
yeah.
But again, a great popular act.
Yeah.
I keep getting DMs from certain people who say, okay, I'm coming for the Wood Brothers, and then I'm coming for this. And like people are so excited. They said it's a very good season if you're a Gen Xer. So
Okay, I get that. Yeah.
because we have AOR coming at the end of the season,
Wow.
which I'm not super familiar with them, but I
Yeah.
have a lot of people. I am a self-proclaimed deadhead, so apparently it's along those same lines.
See, this would be all like Shanie's, Nirvana age type people.
Do you like Dead and Company?
Wearing the.
I do, but I am so disappointed I can't go to the Counting Crows concert.
Oh, no.
I love them,
Yep.
but I have tickets to something else.
Oh, no.
that exact same night.
Can you imagine in the amphitheater, though? I mean, that takes it to a
Yes.
whole nother level. Last summer, we had the Indigo Girls and Melissa Etheridge.
I was
and-
there.
Well, did you go? Wasn't that an
Yes.
amazing show?
It was amazing.
There's something about seeing a show in the amp that is beyond.
Did you wear
Yeah.
flannel?
No, it was pretty warm. So
Yeah.
See, I was
I
just
skipped
at
the flannel.
I was just at the Sphere 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
for Dead and
did you
Company, so
really?
that's a whole nother experience. So.
You saw Dead and Company at the Sphere in Vegas.
I did 2 weeks ago, 2
Oh my
nights.
gosh.
I know.
Before we go to break, I got to finish week one here. Kind of a controversial subject. Chris Hayes from
Yes.
television, from MSNBC, right?
Chris Hayes and his wife has a long-standing relationship with Chautauqua. Her
Okay.
family has I don't know if they have a place there, but I know that they come quite often. So yeah, like we said though, it's not one side or the other. We
No.
really do cover all the bases. And Chris Hayes, again, week one is an amazing week when you look at the calendar. The amount of talent and speakers that we have coming in.
Forces shaping our tomorrow. And I bet you they will talk about AI at that one.
You think?
Oh, yeah.
We had a whole week on AI last year.
I know you did. It is 20 after 4. Jill McCormick's with us here. Stay with us. It's Talk Erie. Talking Chautauqua with Jill McCormick here. It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show. Let's go to week 2 here, and let's see what the title is here. The for week. Well, actually,
Things lighten up a little.
Is that what it is? Okay. It doesn't. Yeah. Okay. The theme is comedy now. Okay.
It's a week curated by Lewis Black.
Oh.
And it is in partnership with the National Comedy Center, our friends in Jamestown. So
have you been starting to do that every year now, or every couple of years?
I want to say every couple of years. We didn't do it last year, but
All
it is a partnership. Last year we did have George Carlin's daughter on stage talking because they donated his whole category or library to the National Comedy Center. And if you haven't been before, it's amazing to see.
Yeah, that's cool.
Kelly Carlin.
So the rant is due. That's amazing. And so are there like lectures?
We do. So there's Pete Docter and Kelsey Mann were both involved with Pixar and the Inside Out. They're going to be taking the stage one day with Lewis Black. There's also behind the scenes with The Daily Show, some of the producers from The Daily Show. And then there's also a Johnny Carson at 100. So one of his people is going to be there talking about Johnny Carson at 100. So it's going to be an interesting week.
So do you remember watching Johnny at night?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we're kind of, you're a little younger than me.
I remember his last show with Bette Midler.
Oh,
and,
my
of course.
Lord. Yes.
And again, another really cool exhibit at the National Comedy Center.
See, he had a career that I could aspire to. That he got paid for 6 days a week, but he generally worked about 3 days a week.
They have, and seriously, if you go to the Comedy Center, they have his note cards from his booker, and everything is typed out, and it would say if they were filling in as a host or when they guested, and everything was typed out on index cards for his Rolodex. It's really quite amazing. They have part of his original curtain there.
That's super cool.
So you can make a day of it. You can come listen to the lecture and then go to check out the
thing
museum.
here. When you're getting into late June into the 4th of July, I want to take a second here and talk about kind of the vibe at Chautauqua, because again, being media people, I think one of the coolest things about Chautauqua is the Chautauquan Daily, which are these young journalists that come and invade in Chautauqua doing live journalism for a daily paper that they put out every day.
And it's a great paper.
It is a great paper.
And they do such a great job. And some amazing people have come through that newspaper as well who have worked there. Actually, Michael Hill, our president, he did an internship with the paper back in the day. So there's a lot of amazing people who've come through the Chautauqua Daily, and it is produced every day. It has a rundown.
Like real ink on paper, too.
A real newspaper every day. And they have been working tirelessly to staff the paper. And I believe at last check, they had almost every position filled. They get tons of applications, as you can imagine. There aren't that many daily papers that are actually, produced on a daily basis anymore. And it is a great part. But you said the July 4th celebration. It really takes you back in time to a July 4th that we would remember. I mean, we're making ourselves sound like we were alive when Lincoln was president.
We saw Lincoln at Lake City, but that's another story.
Right. I saw that. John Last did that story the other day. I saw that. But yeah, so it's the old-fashioned 4th of July celebration. It's you get to see the orchestra perform. You get to see. I'm trying to think of who we have this year. We have Stuart Chaffez with Carpathia Jenkins will be performing on July 4th.
Okay.
So that will be the July 4th celebration. It's a day like none other either. You have the community band on Bester Plaza. You have, the bunting up. It's a beautiful place as is. But then you throw in a July 4th celebration and it really just takes it to a whole other level.
Fireworks over the lake? Or?
That's a good question. Last year, I think we... did we have fireworks? I'll have to find out.
Yeah.
It's a good question. I know we had the drone show for the 150th.
Oh, okay. Wow. That
was amazing.
Impressive.
That was very impressive. So I know Jamestown does fireworks in Mayville. We don't do our own.
Okay. They're adjacent.
I'm trying to think of where you can see them from, but we don't do our own.
Maybe Bemis Point or something. Talk about if somebody wanted to spend like a week, picked like a week, I love comedy. I want to go. They could stay at the hotel. They could stay at the Athenaeum,
Certainly.
right? But how do others, like if they're not staying for the whole season? How do people kind of approach like a week at Chautauqua?
So if you go to our website, chq.org, there is a section about visiting.
Okay.
And there is a place where you can go to find out about lodging. As you know, the homes are privately owned on the grounds, and people do, if they don't stay for the whole 9 weeks, typically rent out their properties.
Okay.
It's starting. There are some weeks, I believe, that are already sold out where it'd be hard to find lodging. But if you can't find it on the grounds after checking at our website and checking with our bookers, then I would suggest there are places outside of
Yeah.
the actual grounds you can stay. It's not quite the same experience, but you could be there for a week, be on the lake somewhere, and still have a great time.
Kind
at
of be a
Chautauqua.
commuter.
A little bit of a commuter.
Have you noticed that the bridge construction has affected you guys? Not really.
No.
Yeah.
Not as much as Canada.
Okay. Oh.
I'm just saying, not a
Yeah.
big deal, but you do have, fewer Canadians who are probably, they make up a small percentage of Chautauqua, but we'll see
But
what happens there.
They're not necessarily taking.
Well, we don't
their-
know that.
Yeah. Oh. She's always got her finger on the pulse of what the news of the day is.
I can't get rid of that.
No, that's going to be hard to shake. The in some of the life of Chautauqua. So like, let's say you went for a day. Grabbing lunch. I mean, there's these bistros, and if you want an ice cream, I mean, it's just a cool, quaint place. There's a bookstore on, all the things.
There is, and this year they're redoing the gazebo. The gazebo will be open again for coffee service, which we didn't have last year. They're upgrading it so that the staffers are comfortable in there with state-of-the-art coffee technology. That had been inside the Brickwalk Cafe last year. The Brickwalk Cafe is getting a facelift, a menu facelift. The hotel at the Heirloom restaurant has delicious food that anyone can go to and have dinner or lunch. And like you said, stay at the hotel if there's availability.
Right.
Then that's also booking up rather quickly. But yeah, there are so many little places on the grounds that even I'll drive by and go, oh, what's that? Oh, I didn't know about that restaurant. So there is something to discover different every day.
And we've got to take our break here, but don't forget there's also ballet performances and opera performances. And do they still do the theater performances as well? I mean,
we'll have a whole segment about theater if you want.
Okay,
we have some really big shows coming up.
Let's do that right after
Okay.
the break here. Jill McCormick from CHQ, from Chautauqua Institution, that amazing asset, over 150 years old now, just 40 minutes from Erie. And, of course, a lot of folks from Erie and throughout the tri-state do love to go to Chautauqua. I think Sundays are still free.
Sundays are still free.
That's pretty amazing. It's 4:30. It's Talk Erie. You're tuned to Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show on your radio here at 105.9 WZTE, live from our Kingdom Financial Group studio. Jill McCormick is with us here. She's the communications director for the Chautauqua Institution. We're going through the season here. Jill, we're getting a jump on it so that people can like zoom in on the concerts and things that they might want to go to. But let's talk theater. I just closed with the Playhouse, the Prince of Egypt yesterday, and there's obviously a huge theater presence at Chautauqua. Talk about it.
Well, not only is there a huge theater presence, they also just broke ground on the Row Green Theater, which is it's under construction. Hopefully, I think ready by next year, possibly.
Cool.
But that is going to be a major multi-million-dollar facility for our arts department.
So it's a new building?
We'll still have the same theater, but this will be for offices, rehearsal space. It'll put it all in one spot where it isn't right now. So it's going to be state-of-the-art, which is amazing. And they're also upgrading the students' dormitory this year. So it'll be called the Green Family Commons. 2 different greens, though. Want to make sure we get that. 2 different spellings. That will upgrade the student housing in the Bellinger Hall, because it has been, I believe, problems with air conditioning, not as comfortable. So now these kids are going to have an amazing space to stay. So we're so excited for those 2 huge upgrades on the grounds. But when it comes to our Chautauqua Theater Company, it's headed by Jade King Carroll. We have several amazing shows this year. The first one's called The Real James Bond Was Dominican. And that is happening July 1st through 6th. It was recently performed down in Pittsburgh at the City Theater there. We had a showing for our documentary there, and realized that some of their crew there actually comes and works at Chautauqua in the summer. And they had just done this particular play, so they were excited to hear we were doing it at Chautauqua this summer. And then Execution of Justice, that was written. It's also going to be directed by Emily Mann. That's from July 16th through the 25th. And then the Chautauqua Theater Company also commissioned work by C.A. Johnson. It's called Tell Me You're Dying. So it's the world premiere. And so that is happening August 13th through the 23rd. And that one, I understand, is about zombies somehow in there. But C.A. Johnson, obviously a huge, well-known author, and to see this work premiering at Chautauqua, they're trying to do this at least once a year. So.
And what dates are those?
August 13th through the 23rd.
Okay, so they again, they're hitting hard with these, 10-day runs and then a couple weeks off and then another one.
Well, these actors come to Chautauqua and they learn the parts and the roles. They don't come prepared for the parts. So there's rehearsal time involved.
Sure.
And when we're talking about the Row Green Theater, that's a place where they could gather eventually and just have those rehearsals in a comfortable new state-of-the-art space. I believe there'll be a black box theater in there too as well. So.
Okay, fantastic. So speaking of the arts, week 3 is Art in Action, Building Community Through the Arts here. There's a couple, you got a pretty big show coming up there on the 11th there.
What do we have on the 11th? You're ahead of me.
Big Bad Voodoo Daddy.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they always
I don't even have that on my list. You're way ahead of me.
They draw.
See, they
crowd,
keep updating stuff.
Oh, is that right?
And so if I don't have the most updated list. But we also, too, we didn't even talk about the Pirates of the Caribbean. That is coming up with the Chautauqua Symphony Orchestra. You know how the Erie Phil does the shows that are so popular here? Chautauqua's been trying to do that once a summer as well. So that's June 28th. And that's a great one for the whole family. That's on a Saturday.
So they would project the movie in the odd? Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. So those are always very exciting.
Now, George Saunders... is going to be as part of week 3 there as well.
He is, and he's there to speak. Obviously, he'll be in a morning lecture. But they also, in conjunction with the Met, has commissioned one of his books to become an opera. And so that is going to be workshopped at Chautauqua this summer with our Chautauqua Opera Company.
That's fabulous.
So something you could eventually see at the Met starting at Chautauqua, which is something that's happened more than once.
And, and new opera probably doesn't really happen that often, does it?
So it's called Lincoln at the Bardo.
I love it. We're going to move on to week 4 because, again, I don't want to run out of time with Jill here. So week 4, the theme is the future of the American experiment. Okay.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? And, and who's coming to talk about that?
Well, and again, that's one of those weeks where when you look at the country and where we're at. It is about discussion and dialogue, which is what Chautauqua is known for, taking difficult topics and putting them out there for people to discuss. So we are in a partnership that week with American Enterprise Institute and Brookings Institute, looking into the nature and what is happening with American democracy.
Wow.
So it's going to be an interesting week. We have Aaron McLaughlin and David Young will be taking the stage. We also have Corey Shockey, who's one of speakers she did one of our Chautauqua travels last year on an excursion to Normandy for the anniversary.
Oh, cool.
And people love her. She's an amazing speaker. So it really just runs the gamut.
Yeah, it looks like, again, if you want to
Who do you have on your list? Because it's probably better than mine.
Well, I'm thinking, if you want to get a look at, just some engaging conversations, the week starts with Robert Dewar and Celicia Elena Rouse. So Dewar is from AEI, and Alicia is president of Brookings. So they got the two big shots, the big guys.
Right. When we partner.
Right. But I mean, to have the actual presidents come
together,
to talk.
Together. It's going to be an amazing conversation.
Wow. The
who do we have for entertainment
and they're
week?
both, I mean, AEI is definitely right of center. Brookings is definitely left of center.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool.
But that's what it's about at Chautauqua. It's
Yeah.
about, like we said, it's very hard right now to bring both of those sides together on a day-to-day existence and have conversation. But we're not afraid to shy away from those difficult conversations that really need to be had now more than ever.
On Tuesday, the 15th of July, Michael O'Hanlon and Corey Shockey, you did mention them. And then I feel like this might, if you want like the big conversations about stuff,
that could be your week.
This could be your week 4 here.
For sure.
Louise Shiner and Michael Strain as well, right? And that's fiscal and monetary policy is where Louise is at Brookings, and then Strain is at the economic policy studies at AEI. So again, they're each kind of setting up their stars to come and talk about this. Very cool. That's
and we
exciting.
also end up the week too with the popular entertainment Straight No Chaser, which is always a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
It's hard to go wrong there.
You can't. That's fantastic. All right. I keep on zooming in on week 4. I might have to be making our way there. Let's see here. Is that also the week that they're doing the Elton John music with the Chautauqua Symphony? It looks like it.
Is it that week? What day is that?
Is that the 12th? Yeah, it looks
I
like
said
it.
you're my first interview this
season.
If I come back, I'm going to have
week.
to come back again.
Doesn't the symphony? The symphony's usually on Saturday nights.
Usually Saturday night.
So yeah, I think they start the week on a Saturday, right? They go to Friday. So
Officially, yeah.
it's kind of so.
And then, like you said, 2 Sundays always free.
Do those pop shows? They probably sell pretty well, right?
They do sell well, and if you get for the most part a general gate pass, that gets you into most shows. And then there's an ability to, if you want to upgrade your ticket for a better section, you can do that too. You're not general admission. Some are different, but if you check and you go to our website, you'll see. But you can come spend the day. You could spend the afternoon. If you buy a ticket separately from a gate pass, that gets you into the gates as well. So.
Gotcha. Jill McCormick from Chautauqua is with us. Moving on to week 5, because there are 9 weeks. We've got less than 9 minutes. All right. Week 5, innovation and capitalism, how to meet 21st century challenges. And again, the some significant speakers. In addition, there is a interfaith lecture series about the spirit of capitalism, prosperity, and the enduring legacy of the Protestant work ethic. Now that sounds challenging.
It does sound challenging. But again, it goes back to not being afraid to talk about difficult topics or things that maybe you haven't even considered before.
I love that. You're not, we're not scared of.
Not scared.
Not scared of.
And I said, I know you didn't
things.
watch the entire documentary,
Yeah.
but there's a line at the end where even Wynton Marsalis says, and the narrator says, Chautauqua's been going on for 150 years, and the only way we're going to move forward is not being afraid to. So you can't be
That's
afraid.
fabulous.
You have to take these chances.
That is absolutely fabulous. As far as you've got Guster and the Mountain Goats. What's that vibe
I have
about?
no idea. You're just pulling things up that I haven't
I'm
even.
just making things up, right?
I don't believe you.
No.
What does it say about Guster?
So let's see what Guster is. Details here. On July 25th, my internet's just stopping. Here we go.
No.
Not long before their making of their new album, Ooh La La, Guster celebrated 3 decades together as a band. A series of hits on Billboard, working with Steve Lillywhite and Richard Smith, launching their own music festival. I'm trying to catch the vibe. It's like, yeah.
Will they be at the AMP? Is that where?
Yeah, this is at
Okay.
the AMP, yeah.
See,
So,
again,
the
we're at that
25th.
point. I showed you the calendar,
Right.
and there'll be another reprint of that.
I was
going to
say, how many times do you have to print this thing?
Typically, they try to do one, but this year there were so many people still coming in that we're doing another print at the end of May, so that it'll be updated.
That sounds
I don't
good.
recall that one coming through.
So it's actually 2 bands.
Oh.
Guster and the Mountain Goats.
Okay,
I love it.
we'll see you
I
there.
just feel so old, like, yeah. Do I know these bands, right?
Yeah, don't you feel that every day
Exactly,
anymore?
Exactly. All right, we're moving on to week 6 here as we talk about Chautauqua. And that theme is the global rise of authoritarianism. Whoa. And you've got Javier Corrales, Joan Donovan, Paige Alexander, and Alsu Kermishiva and Almar Latour, all speakers that week. And yeah, wow.
I know, it never ends.
So Javier is from Amherst. Autocracy rising, how Venezuela transitioned to authoritarianism. Wow. It's pretty remarkable stuff.
It is, and like we said, it just runs the gamut. I mean, there's so many different topics, and I think you can really cover everything. Can you imagine being there for the entire 9 weeks? The people lucky enough to just spend a whole 9 weeks just submersing themselves into this and what you would learn. So you can learn so much in one day, but imagine a full week or even the whole 9 weeks.
And again, the vibe is if you're staying on the grounds, oftentimes they're leaving a lecture, and then the conversation continues on the porch or, on a stoop somewhere in the square or something like that.
There's a great segment in the documentary. Again, I keep going back to that, but
I definitely
you
have
to watch it. It really captures Chautauqua. I mean, whenever people say, "What is Chautauqua?" Tell me about it. The first line of the documentary is, "How do you describe it?" And Lewis Black is in it. There's so many people are in it who consider themselves Chautauquans, and they say, they go, it's the only place you can go where you can have a disagreement and then go sit on someone's porch, have a glass of wine, and keep talking about it. Right. Or talk about, just look at the lake and forget all your troubles. But it's a place where a lot of the bigger conversations happen on front porches.
That's astounding. It's astounding. Looking ahead to week 7. Yeah, that again, the authoritarianism, very topical, very challenging subject. So week 17, Kwame Alexander and friends. So this is another curated week. Talk about that.
Well, so Kwame Alexander, he is part of the Chautauqua staff now. He is our director of writing. He is an amazing Emmy Award-winning New York Times bestseller. He's known for his work. He wrote a book called The Crossovers, which was made into a TV show on the Disney Channel. He is an amazing person, and he's brought so much to Chautauqua. So he's been there a couple of years. So this year they said, let's give him a week. So part of his week, he's bringing in his friends, and he's going to have discussions on stage. One of those friends, LeVar Burton.
Oh my!
Have you heard of him?
Yeah.
So yeah, LeVar
That's
Burton
awesome.
will be taking the stage. I mean, everybody loves him in Reading Rainbow. And we also have Chris Jackson is coming in. He played George Washington in Hamilton in the original production. He'll be there, I believe, that Friday. That was just announced not long ago. So again, another amazing week to see Kwame and hear him talk about his love and passion for writing and reading. And he does so much giving back to children and youth programs, and really just spreading that love and joy for reading and writing. He's an amazing man.
Lean into that a second there. Talk about how a family could enjoy Chautauqua.
I mean, we have our Boys and Girls Club. If you came for the day, and I don't know if I touched on this the last time, I'm so mad that I didn't work here 15 years ago when my kids were little, because I see my colleagues bringing their kids in the main gate, and the kids take off on bikes and they get to go and take part in everything Chautauqua has to offer for the day. And there's a Boys and Girls Club. You know, we have pickleball courts, we have golf courses, we have the beachfront. There are so many things you can do, and the kids literally can just ride their bikes around. It's that small town feeling of safety where you can just be a kid. And they make lifelong friends. And you'll find a lot of the people at Chautauqua have known each other for a long time, but they also welcome in people who maybe are there for their first time too. It's not an exclusive environment. There's definitely people who've been there a lot longer and have a deeper rooted commitment there. Obviously, if they own a home or something like that, but they're so welcoming to anyone who comes in, and that goes for the kids too.
There's an actual beach right on the lake.
Yes.
I mean, so I mean, you can actually find in the middle of the summer people, sun tanning. The kids are, playing in the sand.
There's
a
gate for people on boats. So you could pull your boat up, dock your boat, and come in and get into Chautauqua that way too. So I didn't know that until late last year. I thought that was interesting.
That is cool. Couple more weeks here. Actually, week 7, Mary Chapin Carpenter, right, is on the main stage in the amp, and Brandy Clark with her as well. And the Chautauqua Opera
is that another one you can't go to?
I didn't know Brandy Clark was coming.
She's
Brandy Carlisle. My heart stopped.
Right. Yeah, it's Clark.
I thought the same thing the first time I heard. I got really excited.
Yeah,
excited for Brandy Clark as well. But when Brandy Carlisle.
Puccini's La Boheme, classic opera, August 6th. All right, couple more weeks here. Week 8 is the Middle East, the Gulf states' emerging influence. Do you think that they'll have to go to the conflict in Gaza, right, at some point?
I would think.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, that's a discussion that, is being had. And what better place than Chautauqua to have civil discourse, civil conversation about these topics that are clearly dividing much of the world.
Wow. Yeah. Vali Nasser on August 12th is the speaker. He is the professor of international affairs, Middle East studies at Johns Hopkins. So again, well informed, and that should be a riveting conversation there. Los Lobos. Now, there's a name I know from the 80s. Right?
You knew one.
Finally, week 9, closing out the season at the end of August. There's that OAR and the band Perry. Ooh. That should be selling pretty good, I bet.
Everything is selling really well.
Yeah.
And it's an exciting time because you see these acts that there's something for everybody. But the band Perry, like you said, OAR is selling really well. But of course, we also have Morgan Freeman that week. And like Doris Kearns Goodwin. I mean, that's week 9. I'm really excited for week 9. It's going to be an amazing week.
Past informs present how to harness history. I mean, Doris. What is she? I wonder what her topic's going to be. Let's take a look.
As far as I could see, I think it just says presidential historian.
Okay.
So maybe presidents?
Yeah.
Is there much going on?
Well, she had the book Leadership in Turbulent Times. She wrote Team of Rivals. That's really what my
she's
favorites.
the go-to.
Yeah.
When it comes to talking about, politics in the White House. So I'm excited to hear what she has to say.
She loves to tell stories, and that's riveting when she does that,
I mean, imagine.
Yeah. Morgan Freeman also. Huh?
So he's not only speaking at the 1045 lecture, he's also going to be taking part in a production with the Chautauqua Symphony Orchestra. So he has a program that he's very passionate about down south, that he is bringing that to Chautauqua, and it will be on the stage with the Symphony Orchestra live. So there's 2 opportunities to see Morgan Freeman.
Fantastic. All right. We reached week 9, and so if people are hearing things that piques their interest, what's the best way? Just to go to chq.org, right? There's
actually a place where if you've never been before, it's plan your visit. It's the best place to start. And there you can buy tickets, you can check out lodging. Our website's pretty easy to navigate. If you go on that main page, it'll kind of tell you where you need to go. If you're familiar with Chautauqua, you can just go to tickets.chq.org and start your journey there and just buy the tickets for what appeals to you. But if you're looking for lodging and all of those other things or questions, you can always go to our website, or if you want more information, you can contact me at jmccormick@chq.org. Happy to send you brochures, pamphlets, whatever you like, or answer your questions.
And again, if you're driving up, try to consolidate in a car. There's going to be a little bit of a parking fee, but not much. Plenty of parking, and it's real easy to walk on. There's special accommodations for those that need them, right?
There are.
Yeah.
There are special accommodations. We have scooters that are for rent. They've actually increased the number of those that will be available because it turned out there was such a demand for those.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty, have your walking shoes ready to go. There is walking involved, but it's one of those places too where I think once you start walking, you kind of forget you're walking because you're taking it all in.
Yeah.
And walking down that brick walk to Bester Plaza is a moment that I think a lot of people cherish, even those of us who get to do it every day during the season.
Well, Jill, we appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much for sharing Chautauqua with us again this year.
Thank you for having me. I'd love to even come back, in
Please
the middle
do.
of it all and let you know where
make
we're
it
at.
happen,
Because
all
I'm
right?
sure there'll be more names to add.
You got it. It is 5 minutes in front of 5 o'clock. It's Talk Erie and the Joel Natale Show.